All right, welcome back. We're working on our mini early spring kit today. Last time we planted our transplants inside. Now it's time to move them outside and get all of our other seeds planted. We're going to do ours in one of these buckets. You could do it in a garden as well, in just a 1 square foot square or something like that, or in little mini pots. So the first thing we need is soil. So we're using our organic veggie potting mix. Any store, you should be able to get some of this. I'm just going to fill up this bucket right up to the top with the soil. Okay, so we've got our soil in. Doing this pot, we've sort of created a little map here for you on how you're going to plant everything. So I'm going to section this pot off right now to look like the map, and it's kind of cut it in half, cut it in quarters, and then we can cut these quarters into eighths, and we've got 8 nice little triangles where we can grow. We'll transplant something into each triangle along the edge, and we'll pop our radishes in all around the middle. So I'm going to start with the arugula and these two. These ones will be spinach, kale, and finally with the peas. First thing you want to do is make yourself a nice little hole that's deep enough and wide enough for that peat pot that we planted in to go in. Plant right up to the first set of leaves on your plant as well. Now we're going to pop our spinach in the same way as we did with our arugula there. So we just make a nice little hole. Put it in. And fill all around. And again with our kale. Planting them right up to the bottom set of leaves. Last, we've got our peas. We'll kind of drape these over the pot so they don't interfere with the other plants. So the last thing we need to plant now is our radish seeds. And we're going to do one in each one of our little triangles here, all the way around, so we've got 8. You don't want to go too close to the other plants because a radish is going to be, about that big in the end. So make sure you're spacing them enough, but we're cramming a lot of stuff in this pot, so there's only so much room you can give them. I'm going to put 2 seeds in each hole. I've made my holes about a fingernail deep. I'm going to put 2 seeds in each hole and cover it up. So now that we're all planted, the last thing to talk about is maintenance, because we're not going to see you again until we're ready to harvest. So how are you going to take care of these, make sure that they're growing well in the next 6 weeks? Well, we'll show you. Basically, you're going to do some weeding, you're going to need to do some watering, and the thing we're going to show you how to do today is called thinning. So I'll show you how to do that one right now. So if we look down here with our spinach, and this could have happened with your arugulas or your kales as well, we planted more seeds than we needed. We've got 2 spinach here, we've got 2 spinach over here. Now what we want to do is get rid of those extra ones because there's not going to be enough space. So we want to pick the largest of the 2. You don't want to yank this out because that's going to disturb the roots from the guy next to him. So with a pair of scissors, if you just cut right at the ground level, you'll snip off the seed leaves and that other one won't grow back. Over here, this guy's growing a little bit better than this one, so I'm going to snip this guy off very gently so I don't disturb the other one. You may want to do that with your radishes when they come up. You may have to do that with your arugula and your kale as well. Now for weeding, obviously we don't have any weeds in here yet because we just planted in fresh soil, but it is likely that you're going to get some weeds at some point in time. So one of the benefits of knowing exactly where we planted according to this plan is we know anything that grows outside of these areas that we didn't plant is going to be a weed. We can just pop them out, try and get them as soon as you can so that they don't take over and start competing with the other plants that you've grown in here. Lastly, you're going to need to water. Now using fresh soil, there's very little water in this. You can tell just by looking at it that it's very, very dry. So we're going to give this a nice, healthy watering. But you're going to want to keep an eye on the weather, keep an eye on the forecast. What you can do is if you actually just poke your finger in and you feel moisture in there all the way down the length of your finger, you're probably okay. But especially when you're watering, and we'll show you that once we've given this a good water, you want to make sure that you're giving it a deep water, that you haven't just watered the surface, that the water is getting all the way down into the pot. So like I was saying, with the watering, you want to be checking under the surface. It looks very wet here on the surface right now, but if we get down there, we can see it's actually only touched the top little layer. The roots are much further down in the soil, so we need to be getting the water deep into the soil. The last thing that I want you guys to take notice of is the situation of your pot. And the great thing about a pot is you can move it and turn it and get it into the light as needed. The peas are going to get the tallest, followed by the kale. So you kind of want to try and keep this side of the pot situated to north, which in this case is behind me, this direction. That'll give enough sunlight to these ones here in the front. The other thing you might want to do with the peas, I've left them draping over the side of the pot, and you can do that. They'll sort of hang down. These are more of a bushing bean or bushing pea variety, but you could, if you need to, grab some little sticks and just stake them up. They will start climbing and attaching themselves to the sticks, so you don't really even have to tie them up if you just have the sticks there in place. All right, so that's it for planting now. We'll be back in about 6 weeks to show you how to harvest and prep your salad and your smoothie. Hope you guys have some good luck. I can't wait to hear about how it's going.